They told him the ocean was for white people only. So this black doctor decided to walk straight into those waters anyway. What happened next became one of the bloodiest race riots in Mississippi history, and it's a story most Americans have never heard. May 14th, 1959. Dr. Gilbert Mason, a physician who'd graduated from Howard University Medical School with honors, took his friends and their children to the beach in Biloxi, Mississippi. These weren't radicals or troublemakers. They were families who simply wanted to feel the Gulf breeze and swim in waters their tax dollars had built. According to the Army Corps of Engineers records, that 26-mile stretch of beach had been constructed in 1953 using federal taxpayer money. Yet when they stepped onto the sand, a police officer ordered them off, declaring, "Negroes don't come to the sand beach." Mason did something revolutionary. He went to the police station and asked a simple question. What law did we break? The police couldn't show him any law, because there wasn't one. So he went to meet with Mayor Laz Quave the next day. The mayor's response? If you go back down there, we're going to arrest you. That's all there is to it. But here's what the city officials didn't tell him. According to documents from the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission, a state-funded spy agency whose files were sealed until 1998, the state was actively investigating Mason, monitoring his movements, and planning economic retaliation against anyone who challenged segregation. This wasn't just local prejudice. This was state-sponsored surveillance and intimidation. April 24th, 1960, Easter Sunday. After Mason's arrest the week before for returning to the beach alone, something extraordinary happened. 125 black men, women, and children gathered at his medical office. They'd been trained in nonviolent resistance. Mason instructed them to surrender anything that could be seen as a weapon, even nail files from purses. They split into 3 groups and headed to different sections of the beach. The New York Times would later describe what happened next as the worst racial riot in Mississippi history. White mobs were waiting with chains, baseball bats, pool cues, and lead pipes. 14-year-old Cleman Jimerson, wearing his brand-new swimsuit and gold-banded watch, had to run for his life. One witness, Bishop James Black, recalled seeing a man named Wilmer McDaniel beaten until the sand turned red with his blood. His wife threw herself over his body to shield him from the blows. 10 people suffered gunshot wounds. More than 20 required hospitalization. And where were the police? According to survivor Leroy Carney's testimony, one officer told the white mob, "Legally, I can't get them off, but you can." The violence didn't stop at sunset. White mobs drove through black neighborhoods all night, firing guns and making threats. 2 young black men, Bud Strong and Malcolm Jackson, a member of Mason's Boy Scout troop, were murdered in the racist violence that followed. But here's the part that should make your blood boil. Mason was arrested, not the attackers. Mason was tried and convicted of disturbing the peace for leading a peaceful demonstration. Yet that conviction sparked something powerful. Within days, Mason and other activists formed the first NAACP chapter in Biloxi. They launched voter registration drives. They filed the first school desegregation lawsuit in Biloxi's history. The U.S. Justice Department sued the city on May 17, 1960, under President Eisenhower's direction. It was the first federal challenge to Mississippi's segregation laws. The case dragged on for 8 years. 8 years of legal battles while families were denied access to beaches their taxes built. Finally, in 1968, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled the beaches must be desegregated. Dr. Mason wasn't just fighting for the beach. As historian and veteran activist James Black later reflected, had we understood more back in the 60s and 70s, we would have been fighting for economic justice as much as civil rights. Because the power was in the banks, not necessarily sitting next to some white person in a restaurant. That wisdom, born from the blood spilled on that beach, reminds us that true freedom requires both dignity and economic power. Today, families of all races enjoy those Mississippi beaches without a second thought. A section of Highway 90 now bears Dr. Mason's name. But most people walking that beach have no idea that the sand beneath their feet was once soaked with the blood of people who simply wanted to swim. Dr. Mason lived until 2006. He spent 33 years as president of the Mississippi NAACP, became the first black member of the Mississippi State Medical Association, and wrote a memoir called Beaches, Blood, and Ballots, so this story would never be forgotten. So here's my question for you. What other pivotal moments in civil rights history have been buried or forgotten? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this story moved you, share it so others can learn what really happened on those beaches. And follow Ikemefuna History TV, because the stories they tried to bury are the ones that need to be told the most.